The cost is very important in adoption of these plant-based proteins, and we actually compete against subsidized products. These animal-based proteins are subsidized by feed, by different subsidies for biodiversity, etc., etc. So the plant-based ingredients have a higher hurdle due to these subsidies to be adopted, and we're focusing on that as efficient as possible to provide very low entry barriers for our customers to use our products.
Welcome to the Swisspreneur Show, a podcast about startup stories and learnings from experienced entrepreneurs. If you enjoy listening to our show, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a rating. And now, here's your host, Silvan.
Silvan, a very well welcome to the Swisspreneur Show. It's a pleasure to have a named companion on the show today.
Thanks a lot for having me, Silvan.
You are the co-founder and CEO at Eggfield, a B2B startup that replaces egg in the food industry through plant-based and clean label ingredients. I'm really curious to learn more about that. So my first question is, what actually motivated you to start Eggfield in the first place?
Yeah, so I've been active as an entrepreneur for pretty much most of my life. My siblings and I, we founded a bakery in 2010. Which is called Leibacher Bibermanufaktur. We deliver sustainable goods or baked goods into organic retail and specialty retail. First, we started experimenting with regional and also very high quality ingredients, and also due to sustainability reasons. But very soon we started to notice that most of the CO2 actually is not coming from regional ingredients, but actually from animal-based sources. So there is not such a big difference if you use regional ingredients, which mostly makes sense to use whatever is around you, but it's more about just the original, the source. So we started experimenting with plant-based ingredients and just realized that there is a lot of opportunity and a lot of things actually work if you put your time and love and effort to it. And this is also how we got motivated to do more and more. And we started with the first plant-based assortment in 2013 with a vegan gingerbread. In Switzerland, we call this Biberli. So most of the Swiss would know this, like going out with your grandpa and like he might have a Biberli for you to have a snack. Maybe you know it too. So we started making these products plant-based and replacing butter and milk and with due course pretty much all of the ingredients except honey and egg. We knew we wanted to keep honey, but we wanted to replace the egg. So this is how we sort of got started. And sort of the challenge motivated me because I knew it was hard, but I also knew there must be a solution because we already knew also with butter and milk, we found a solution. So why not also with egg? And a lot of luck actually led then to this development, but maybe we will also dive a bit deeper into that.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that because it's sort of solving your own problem. And it also seems like it's the last part that hasn't really been solved yet to find a plant-based alternative. So I was wondering about the timing, right? That's another very important factor. Was there any technological advancement or just everything coming together, the stars aligning that make it the right timing for you to build Eggfield in this very moment now in 2024?
Yes, the technology we use is not only new. So, we work with chickpea extract, so-called aquafaba, which is part of our solution. And aquafaba has been used already in the Second World War when resources were scarce. If you look it up in Wikipedia, people say it was invented by a US inventor, an IT specialist by accident, which is complete BS. It's been there. Our grandmothers, they have been using this, or in a lot of countries, they've been using this, but people wanted to forget after the war. Like a lot of this was about making the most of your resources. So why now is because we are in a situation where we again want to make the most of our resources, because we realize that if we just keep using more resources and are not efficient with our resource usage, we have a very big impact on the planet. And people start to notice. So now is the time to either invent new things or go back to old technology and reinvent it. And so part is actually from something that was around in the past, that something that was just efficient, basically using a waste stream in our case, and combine it with new proteins. And I think this is the new part. So with modern extraction technologies, we are able to know a lot more about plant-based proteins. So the combination between these two technologies make it possible to emulate now these functionalities that originally come from animal-based ingredients.
Amazing. It really sounds like the stars did align in that sense. And to pull that off, you obviously also need a big team, or the right team, maybe better said. We heard a bit about your entrepreneurial background. Can you share a bit more about what experience and also skills that your team at Eggfield brings to the table?
Yes. So, I mean, for us, it was extremely important to have someone on board who has the right background in food engineering. So, already when we started, I had about 10 years of bakery experience under the belt. I mean, my background is basically a business background, but I've also seen with different stations in large corporations, Unilever and also with another startup where I was responsible for the food section, that it's very important to have the right skills in a team. And this is also why I knew if you want to make this big, we need different types of people. And when we knew sort of in which direction to go and which ideas there could be to replace egg, I by accident met David, who is my co-founder and also food engineer. He was working at Zurich University of Applied Sciences in Wädenswil at the food technology department, and he kind of wanted to do something more. A few years back, he already started a small startup, but also realized that sort of being alone on the journey is not much fun. So he stopped doing it. And when I approached him, he was very open about it. And we sort of kicked it off. I didn't hear anything from him about 2 weeks. I thought maybe he forgot. But 2 weeks later, I got a data dump of about 200 documents where he sort of collected all the available data on these type of extracts and how to treat them. So this was sort of the beginning of our business love story, so to speak.
That's so cool. That's really amazing. Let's also talk about the milestones. What recent milestones have you achieved as a team that you can share with us today?
I mean, one of the recent milestones is definitely the win of the ClimUp by the City Council of Zurich, where we can support the City Council in decarbonizing the city of Zurich. The city has launched their new nutrition strategy, where a focus is on reducing ecological impact on the nutrition that is being sort of used and also distributed in the city's boundaries. I mean, the city runs a lot of different organizations and sub-organizations where they use and buy ingredients or convenience products. So they focus on organic, but also on increasing the plant-based share. So we are among other 9 startups who are sort of participating in this program and are representing sort of the egg and the plant-based egg part, where we help, for example, Congress House or different organizations within the city of Zurich to address this topic.
Amazing. That's some nice names that you mentioned right there. And I'm sure in a space that you're active in, there are maybe not direct competitors, but at least substitutes. So how do you sort of position Eggfield in the market against potential substitutes or competitor? What is your advantage and also differentiator in that sense?
I mean, from the start, we have focused only in one segment, and this is B2B and clean label ingredients. So first, we want to help the food industry to replace eggs. We are not very interested in these projects where it's about replacing scrambled egg or boiled egg. I mean, maybe to give you a bit of background, 50% of all eggs are being used in cakes and pasta and sauces and dressing. So you as a consumer, you're not mainly about the egg when you eat these products, but you just want to have tasty and nutritional product. So a lot about the CO2 and also the ethical dilemma around eggs is actually being based on finding a solution for you to have a great experience, but also about providing the functionality that the food industry needs to make these products. And this was a gap we wanted to fill. So we are very different. We have a very different approach to other companies such as Just Egg or, for example, Perfect that launched in Germany a few years ago. We also focusing on clean label because we know that it is not a good idea to replace animal plant-based products with additives. We have seen this multiple times with Beyond Meat, with other companies, that consumers want to eat healthy and nutritious, and we cannot solve technological problems with additives. So this is why we only go with products that are clean and sort of based on as unprocessed ingredients as possible. So these two differentiators, I would say, differentiate us from at least 85% of all available competitors.
I love the specific focus on B2B and what you just mentioned also with the technology. And I wonder, there's also always a challenge, right, that you have to overcome along the process. So what was the toughest challenge that you had to solve so far along the journey?
I mean, for us, part of the ingredients that we use, I said it's chickpea extract, or so-called aquafaba, and we get this from a very large processor here in Switzerland. And the first part was to work together with him to collaborate to actually engineer a process that this water that is being sort of used in this process, that we can actually make it safe and utilizable. So to come from a waste stream to a food product, basically. And this might be very easy when you think about it in your kitchen or in a restaurant, but when it's all about large processes, this is not so easy anymore. So the first part was really to engineer our supply chain. And this is also part where Riet comes in, our third co-founder. He has a focus on supply chain. He used to be the CEO of Competech Logistics, Brock.ch, so he knows a lot about how pallets need to move. So he helped us a lot in putting up this supply chain. And I think the second part is really to bring down the cost. So the cost is very important in adoption of these plant-based proteins, and we actually compete against subsidized products. So, these animal-based proteins are subsidized by feed, by different subsidies for biodiversity, etc., etc. So the plant-based ingredients have a higher hurdle due to these subsidies to be adopted, and we're focusing on that to be as efficient as possible to provide very low entry barriers for our customers to use our products. Plus, we also focus a lot on product development together with our customers. So we have developed a lot, I would say about 50 plus recipes for them to use our products to make very tasty products for you to eat.
Amazing. I get hungry now by just listening to this. And I think the comparison of what you said, it's so important to bring the cost down. A fair comparison will probably be Oatly, that most of us know, a plant-based milk, compared to regular milk, which is still cheaper than Oatly because of subsidies. I think that is a real challenge in the market, but also something that we probably see changing pretty fast in the near future. I also wanted to talk about the last part, because to make all of this happen, you also need not only a good team and a great product, but also funds, obviously. So at the moment you are fundraising, please tell us a bit more about how much money that you're looking for and what these funds will be used for.
Yes, so we're looking at the moment for our pre-seed round, which is set at 1.5 million Swiss francs. We're focusing on scale, which I mentioned is very important in plant-based proteins, to get to higher volumes. And to get to higher volumes, we need process engineering on one hand, new technology that makes us more efficient in terms of energy and cost, and also product integration, which is the second part where we will be using these funds. So a lot of our food technologists, we have 4 people in our team who are food technologists, are focusing on product integration. So how our products are being used in a production location of very large clients. So let's say we have at the moment a southern German pasta producer who makes Spätzle. We help this producer to integrate our product in his recipes, but this obviously needs time and resources. We calculate about 10% of an FTE per large account to actually make this integration happen. So you can actually imagine that this binds also some resources to make this transition happening.
Thank you for sharing that. Really interesting. And for anyone interested in learning more about your investment case, you also open a ticket on the Swisspreneur Syndicate. We're really glad to have you with us. So I recommend anyone signing up for our Syndicate Deal Flow newsletter so you can study your pitch deck and your investment memo and make their own decision if they want to get on board the Eggfield journey. So to wrap up today, I also have 3 rapid fire questions ready for you. The first one, straight away, what was your summer job as a teenager?
I was working in a horse stable.
Oh, nice. That sounds interesting. And also exhausting, I assume.
Yeah,
Are you more of a morning person or a night owl?
night owl.
Definitely. I like that. And the last question for you today, what is a surprising fact that people might not know about you, or at least people not that close to you know about you?
So a lot of people, when they invite me for lunch or they have a lunch date, they think about vegan options for lunch menus, but it's actually not the case. Like my siblings and I, and also our team, we are not vegans, not even vegetarians, but we just think it doesn't make sense to use animal-based protein where there is other and better solutions for it.
Nice. That is surprising indeed, but a fun fact at the same time. Silvan, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Good luck with your fundraising and lots of success for the future. We're really excited to see where your journey will lead you.
Thanks a lot for your time, Silvan. Pleasure to meet you and see you soon.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, you can support us by rating our show on Apple Podcasts. This way, we can reach an ever-growing number of aspiring entrepreneurs.